we're going to be having a pro player on now. It's going to be a really fun one. I'm looking forward to this. Ezlivi is an absolute insane player at the game. He says he's ready. I'm going to go ahead and give him a call then, and we'll get this interview underway. Hello?
Hello, hello.
There it is. I'm super excited to have you, bro. Thank you for taking the time. I know monthly quals are this weekend, and y'all got some big games ahead of you. So I really appreciate you taking the time with me.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so kind of first question from me. When did like Brawl come into the picture for your life? You know, when did like the journey start? Because obviously it takes a lot to go from playing a game casually and then being like, hey, I'm kind of good at this game. Like, I think I could be a pro at it. Like, when was that moment for you? When did Brawl really come into your life?
So I got the game when the week it came out in June of 2017. I had no idea what competitive was, or didn't even have an incentive to like play competitive. I was just playing for fun with my friends at school. We were all like the Supercell guys. We played Clash Royale, Clash of Clans. And I quickly realized that my friends were not as good as me. And so we were playing the ladder. The goal then was to we're getting our club to get the top 200 in North America. That was like the whole thing.
That's hype.
But a year went by and I just played casually, and I got into a Discord server with some semi-pros, and they had some pickup scrims, and I joined, and I realized that they were all, I was terrible. I was not good at the game. But I had this, I wanted to be better than them, and so I continued to try my best, and I eventually I was being the best person in the lobbies back then, and I just built my way up through teams. I participated in 2020 qualifiers in May when I turned 16, and we didn't do that well, but it was fun. It was a good experience for me. And ever since then, I've been kind of going through my teams, going through upping the skill level, and now I'm on Tribe.
Yeah,
Pretty crazy ride.
Yeah, that is crazy. It's funny that I feel like a lot of people don't really recognize that. Like, sure, I'm sure a lot of the pro players were naturally gifted. Like, there's no way around that. It's hard to stand out, but also the amount of effort and hard work that it takes is something insane too. Even for like, it's just like a sport, you know, it's just the same thing, but it has E in front of it. You know, it still takes hours upon hours to get there. And if you had to take a guess, how many hours a day when you're grinding, and maybe still even it might be the same, but how many hours a day would you say you spend either, you know, prepping, you know, scrimming, practicing the game? Like, how many hours a day do you spend roughly on Brawl Stars, do you think?
So it was a lot more about a year and a half ago. I was like completely addicted to it, and I would play on ladder anytime I could in class or just at home. And I played way too much. I probably played like 7, I want to say. Like, I played it non-stop. I would wait to do homework like at midnight when I was about to go to bed, and I was just playing non-stop. Now it's a lot less. I've balanced it out more with school, which is good. And the priority is obviously scrimmages this year for me. And so we usually have 1, maybe 2 scrimmages every day. And so that usually takes maybe 2 or 3 hours, and then I'll play some ladder every now and then.
I got you.
Yeah, not as insane as I did last year.
No, I mean,
it's a lot better.
Yeah, I mean, you treated it like a full-time job in terms of hours. I mean, I don't even think that's like the craziest thing to hear. Like, obviously, this is something you have an avenue for. You're really good at it, and clearly it's paid off. You know, you're on one of the most well-known gaming organizations there is. You know, obviously winning your first monthly finals very recently too. At what point along the line did Tribe come into the picture? You know, how did you get this opportunity to join one of the most well-known organizations in just the mobile gaming scene period, let alone Brawl Stars?
Yeah, so going back to, I guess, November of last year, I was playing with Toast on the O.O roster, and I realized that school was kind of taking over. Like, I was losing steam in the game. I wasn't making as many scrimmages as I should have. So Toast dropped me. He dropped me in November over Thanksgiving break. I was pretty upset, but I could also, like, I could see his point of view, and like, I wasn't playing as much as he wanted me to. It made sense at the time. And then, so I was teamless for about 3 weeks, and then Alec DM'd me he had a team, just him and Raz at the time. So he reached out to me to do some test scrims, and I joined that, and we played queso quals long after, and we won it all. We beat Tribe in the finals, and not long after, I got a Discord message from Zulon. Hey, I think you're really good. Would you want to come test out a couple scrims with us? And I was like, I mean, I can't pass up the opportunity to scrimmage with Tribe. It was the team like I've always wanted to either beat or be on. So I did that, and I kind of instantly clicked with the. It took a little bit of history building, but I clicked pretty quickly with how they played, and I got the offer not long after.
Wow. No, that's super cool. I think, I was familiar with you in 0.0 just as somebody who I wasn't, casting or anything at the time, but I've always been watching Brawl Esports. Is one of the things I've done for a really long time. It was something me and like my best friend would always do, who got me into the game. But like where I don't know if you know this, you probably don't, but the first time I really, really got to watch you like multiple games in a row, lots of different things, was actually that queso season you were talking about. And for me, that was roughly, our timelines are probably pretty similar. That was when I was on, I guess, the radar for casting, because I just had these watch parties for fun. I actually casted your all's championship game when you were with Alec and Raz. You guys were the Humble Grinders, right? If I'm not mistaken, that was your name.
Right.
I watched a lot of that queso season, and also I casted that day just for fun. I wasn't a queso caster or anything, but it was like clear to me that you were like very, very good. So when I saw that you got this opportunity to go for Tribe, I remember DMing my best friend and being like, this doesn't surprise me in the slightest. It is crazy, full circle, man. That's super, super cool. How nervous were you going into, monthly finals this week? Like first time with Tribe, I don't know if you knew you were gonna be playing as much as you did, but like what was like going through your head? Like what's it like game day? In monthly finals, you got to win 3 straight if you want to take home 100 points. So like what's going through that?
So surprisingly, it was probably the least nervous I've ever been. I don't want to say it was like completely because of my teammates at the time. Like they were obviously the best teammates I've ever had. Some of it probably rode on that. I don't know. We did a ton of preparation with the coach, and we figured out drafting for each map, scenario, first or last pick. And I knew that nerves, if I made myself nervous, I wouldn't play as well. And I know I didn't play my best. I played well enough to win, obviously, but I know the majority of the mistakes from Tribe were from me, which is probably a little bit of nerves, but I wasn't that nervous on Saturday or Sunday.
No, that's awesome to hear. I mean, prep can go a long way, obviously. And that's interesting to me that you said that you guys go through scenarios, right? So even like outside of scrims, are you guys like, I don't need you all to expose your strategies, but are you all literally going through scenarios of like, here's the map, here's what they picked or banned, what are we doing? Like, are you guys going through those scenarios on a daily basis just to prep for the draft scenarios?
Kind of. I mean, we obviously want to figure out the best brawler or best 2 brawlers on each of the maps that we're given, and then we make our bans from there. Then it's kind of, some of them are comfort picks. Like I can play Squeak on some maps that some other teams wouldn't be able to, so that it can work well. Most of it, yeah, we just kind of go through the scenarios, I guess.
Gotcha. That's super interesting and kind of cool. I definitely think that's not something I would have like immediately thought of like to do for prep. That makes a lot of sense. Okay, one thing I want you to walk me through real quick. You're playing against Stamina. It's set 2. You're playing on Dueling Beetles, which is a hot zone map. Very competitive set, and you somehow dropped 24 kills, which is like a very, very high number on any mode and any set in Brawl Stars, period. Like, what do you think like allowed you to do that? Was it just like an insane set for you? Was it a comfort map? Did you have a matchup advantage? Like, what happened there? Like, from the team side, what was like, did you even know?
I had no idea I was killing that much. No. But it was, I think we had draft. We had the draft. We tried out Tick mid, or I guess we transferred to Tick lane. We had Bell. I tried to match up against OG, who was Gale, and so that was a matchup thing where Bell can usually beat Gale.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, OG's a great player. He's arguably one of the best jukers in North America, and I knew it was going to be a challenge. And I missed some shots on him, but I eventually got into the groove, and yeah, I guess I had no idea I killed 24 times. Thought maybe like 8 or 9. Like I thought I was playing decent. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that was crazy. I was having like a watch party for it. I remember just looking at it being like 24 is insane. Like that's a crazy number. So I mean that makes sense to me though. Like when you're in the rhythm of it and the motion of it, you're just trying to get one game at a time. It's probably easy not even to recognize. And again, just 24 kills is a lot though. But yeah, that's super interesting to hear from your side. So you end up beating Stamina. You go on to the finals and get a nice win there. First monthly finals, obviously 100 points to Tribe 2, which is huge. When we don't have details about MSI, we don't know exactly, but I think it's fair to say that the top team from each region is likely going to get a seed there. Or at least I think we would hope so. So I don't think that's too surprising to anybody. I think coming into the season, Tribe, you all, and Stamina are 2 of the teams that people were expecting. That was that was the El Clasico of NA, for example, last year. And I don't think too much really changed in people's minds in the offseason, especially after the consideration of how well both teams did at Worlds. But one team that did surprise many was the Avengers. And, you know, the finals came down to a 3-2 scenario. And at one point, they were even up 2-1 against you all. Was this a team you all expected to be as strong going into the day? Is this somebody you guys were anticipating to be a very, very tough foe?
So as Corey said in the interview after we won, that team, the Avengers, were our scrim partners. We would scrim them pretty much every day for like the past 3 weeks. We did that because we were on opposite side of the brackets, and we weren't expecting to play them at all. We thought that they would go past the quarters, but it would be tough versus Chasmac versus Toast. And so they beat Toast, and they went to the finals, which was surprising. I think it was Bridge Too Far was the first map we played them, which was arguably one of our most comfortable maps, and we lost. We lost to him. Zulon was like kind of getting worried a little bit in VC. He was like, it's okay, we'll come back. And we won the next set. I forget what it was, and it was a kind of back and forth until set 4, which I think was Bounty, which we kind of got bailed out. It was a very intense set, but we weren't expecting to play them. They're a great team. Obviously, Killer popped off on the Ashe and the Fang. We should have seen coming because of how much he's played it, but we thought we could deal with it. But yeah, it was a great monthly finals with them.
Yeah, that's super cool to hear. They were definitely a team that caught me off of a little guard too. You know, when I was doing my predictions, I had Chasmic winning just because I think, you know, going into this season, a lot of people probably had Chasmic being one of those possible 3 teams making it to Worlds, and I still think that, but definitely now I think people should have Avengers on their radar. I definitely think it's a really, really good team, and that's funny that y'all said that was like even your scrim partner, you know. And yeah, Killer was kind of nuts with it on the Fang. That was one thing I noticed too. A lot of people in my chat were saying that he's just like that on tanks in general, so it was really cool to see them display that. But at the end of the day, tough bracket, obviously. You all emerge on top. How did it feel, you know, after all this work, after all these hours of grinding? You won your first ever monthly finals. What did that feel like? What does that feel like now?
It was a big relief. There was some screaming that was happening in the VC at the end. We all know, like, I'm pretty sure the next message in the group chat from Zulon was like, unfortunately, we can't take our foot off the pedal. We got to keep going. We continue with scrims as quals are coming up tomorrow. Yeah, it's great. The 100 pointers are a huge advantage, but we're gonna go into the next month just like we did for the first month.
I love that mentality. All right, Ezlivi, I know you got some places to be. You got some big practices to get in. You got qualifiers tomorrow. We'll be me and Reddy will be casting. We're excited to see your all's games. Super appreciative of you taking the time, being the first ever pro player on Brawl Center. So thank you so much. Best of luck tomorrow. It's been awesome having you, and yeah, we'll definitely have to have you on in future episodes. Best of luck with everything this weekend.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. What a homie. Great interview. He killed that, by the way. He killed that. Thank you again, Ezlivi. Big shout out. I dropped his Twitter in chat. Yes. His Twitter's in chat if you want to follow him. Pro player for Tribe Gaming. Got picked up this offseason. Super deserving of it too, chat. He's really, really talented, especially, like I said, when I saw him play in Queso Cup, he's really good, bro. Definitely go back and watch monthlies too if you haven't seen him. Great player. And obviously, as you heard there, very cool guy too.